Hey, I just got out of a doctor's waiting room, dental waiting room, where a guy said that I was effing crazy as soon as he found out that I spoke Spanish. Because when he made some comment about how, oh, she speaks Spanish. And then he went on to try to cover it up by saying, that he had dated Spanish girls, he knew about that, and this and that and the other. It suddenly occurred to me that this man demoted me from being somebody who could speak as equals to him about our politics. And we were politely discussing our politics. He didn't like mine and I didn't agree with his, but we were politely discussing it. But the moment he found out I spoke Spanish, he said, oh, that explains it. Explains what? Most of my family is the opposite of my politics. And we all had non-traditional politics at the beginning for our race, technically. So, no, that explains nothing. But it does explain something. It does explain that as soon as I got a little defensive about him saying that, and I told him, my grandfather served in World War II, and we are pro-America, and he's the one who taught me Spanish. I was, eager to have him understand that we are Americans, and we feel very much American, and we feel very much that this is our country. He got mad that I would dare be defensive about it. And he said I was effing crazy. Now, I felt a righteous anger rise within me. And I turned to him and I said, sir, you have to be very careful because I am a woman of God. And he said, I'm a man of God. I've got a minister's license. And I did. I'm sorry, guys, I did. I told him that as long as he treats people the way he's treating people, he needs to watch his walk with Christ first and foremost, or he can take that paper that his minister's license is on and use it to wipe somewhere. I said it just like that. I didn't tell him. I didn't use any improper language, but I guess that wasn't exactly proper. But in reality, guys, it's just, he was defending the way Donald Trump speaks and saying that maybe his wording was coarse, but he had done a lot of good and made a lot of changes for this country that were positive. I can understand that point of view. I can respect that point of view. But when you go around and say that his name calling is wrong and then literally name call me for behaving defensively, I did not go on the attack. I was feeling defensive because of his little commentary behind me. And so I said, my grandfather fought in World War II. Puerto Ricans are American citizens. We are pro-America. I was angry. I could not believe this guy was really going to change completely his perspective of me based on the fact that now I'm a Latina, so I obviously can't have rational, reasonable thought. When I was a white girl, because I look like one, when I was a white girl, I was worthy of a reasonable debate, but as soon as I became a Latina, now he had to use that as the reason. You know what he said? He said, go back to your Democratic followers. Guys, I'm still a registered Republican. I know a lot of you are going to be like, what? Yes, I am. I didn't change my registration. I didn't change my political party. I still believe there's hope and there's coming back from this. But while Donald Trump is the standard, the gold standard for how to behave within the Republican Party, I don't think I can vote in that direction. I need you guys to pray. I need you to pray that this country would make some sense, that Donald Trump would become the man he's supposed to be, that he would learn to filter his words and control his tongue, I need you to pray that we would learn to filter our words and our tongue with each other. This guy called himself a man of God, a registered minister, and he used the F word at me like it was normal because I'm not white. Guys, there is no second category. There is no separate category for people who are non-white. You can't do that to people. I'm college educated, and beyond college educated, I'm just an academic. I love to learn, so I know all kinds of things I'm not supposed to technically know because I didn't learn them in school. I force myself to absorb all this knowledge, not even by force, it's by pleasure. I love learning. I am an intelligent human being, and he treated me like I was nothing because I suddenly could speak Spanish. Guys, check yourself. If I had been a black guy in a hoodie, would he have allowed this conversation to continue? Would he have even begun it? Or would he have shut it off and assumed I wasn't a thinking person? I look like a white girl, and I gave him something to think about today. But I think what he's thinking is, that's another Latina who's going crazy. I don't think he's thinking reasonably and rationally. And that saddens me because we've become a country of name callers. When you can't find a way to agree, you just put them in a separate category. You decide they don't have the capacity to think. You decide they're not intelligent. And I'm not just speaking Republican, guys. The Democrats do it too. The Democrats assume that anybody who is pro-life, and I am 100% pro-life, is not thinking, is against women. I happen to be a woman. I happen to be absolutely in favor of women making choices for their lives that are the way they want them. But I'm not okay with making a choice for another life that might end it. And that doesn't mean I'm against you if you've had an abortion. My friends who've had abortions have been able to tell me about it. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about as a policy. Is this the best plan for our country? To allow the death of babies because it just makes sense to the minds of the people involved. What will make sense in the future? Will it make sense to allow the death of people like me? It has happened before. Back in Persia, they had a day called Purim. And the day of Purim, at that time, the Persians could kill all the Jews they wanted with impunity, no problem. They weren't going to get in trouble, and they were allowed to steal their stuff. That's what Purim is all about, that Jewish feast. It was a terrible thing. When are they coming for you? I know that's a big stretch, that we would go from thought to deed. But Jesus said, when you hate somebody in your heart, it's the same thing as killing them. It's murder in your heart. So are we murdering others because they don't agree with us in our heart? Are our hearts thinking murderous thoughts? Guys, it's time. It's time to stop deciding that you hate people because they don't agree with you. I know half of you are so pro-Trump that you are incensed at me for getting into this argument with this man. Because apparently you firmly believe the good Trump has done has outweighed the bad. I understand your point of view. I respect your point of view. You're not the only one in my life like that. Fully half of you are, and a lot of you are family. Then there are those who are so disgusted with Trump that you would think anyone who could respect that opinion is a psycho. You would be on his side, that man's side. You would agree with him that if the person disagrees with you, they are the problem. No. The argument is valid. Everyone has the right to their argument. Everyone has the right to their opinion. And we're becoming a country of name-calling idiots who don't give each other the time of day, who don't allow each other to speak intelligently about what we believe. We're just shutting people down. And the sad part is we're becoming more and more polarized. The pro-Trump people are trying to excuse his behavior as normal, compared to Bill Clinton, compared to other people. The anti-Trump people are trying to excuse their behavior as normal compared to him. Why don't we just act normally? Why don't we just stop hating people? Why don't we just stop name calling? Why don't we just stop being total and complete jerks to each other? Let's try that. Let's do it that way. Let's love one another. Love covers a multitude of sin, guys. Agree to disagree. But agree to disagree without the name calling, the ridiculous, disrespectful attitudes, and the ability to take a woman of God and a man of God, he called himself that, and change your behavior until you're absolutely unrecognizable. That's not okay, guys. That's not okay. This is disgusting. This attitude is disgusting. I am so disgusted with the situation. That was not okay. People are going to disagree with you. They are going to be 100% against you. I was okay with him disagreeing with me. I was even okay with him acting racist toward me. I was fine with that. I was annoyed at it, but I was going to chalk it up to some people just have that kind of viewpoint. Some people just don't understand that to be of a different ethnic group doesn't make you an idiot who has no brain. Suddenly it occurred to me that maybe it's not even a racial thing. Maybe it's a woman thing. That's true too. Some men just believe if a woman agrees with them, that's an intelligent woman. If a woman disagrees, well, that's a woman for you. When are we going to stop this? When are we going to start realizing that people are humans? And when, women, are we going to stop making men think we're stupid in order to get them to be sexually attracted to us? Enough is enough. Stop acting like you don't have an opinion or a brain. Because that is making him think. That's making people like that think that they can just say, that's women for you. Because we lie through our teeth. And we say we don't have an opinion either way. We have plenty of opinions. We have strong minds. And if you don't, it's time to develop yours. I'm so sorry I'm on this rant here. I'm just frustrated at a world where somebody can call me effing crazy and think that they are being the reasonable ones. If you have to be a jerk to make your point, you've already lost your point. And I know that I have been a jerk plenty of times. And I know that I am preaching against my own behavior so often. But I'm telling you guys, if you've got to be a jerk to make your point, it's time to turn away from that and just decide, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to make this point. I give up. I'd rather not make the point. I'd rather not clarify it. I'd rather just let them be confused, and I don't want them to understand if I can't make them understand with respectful, polite behavior. I'd rather just leave them in their ignorance, because it's not fair. It's not fair to them to do that to them, to make them feel like I consider them less than me because they don't agree with me. Can we try that, guys? It's just not okay. I love you guys. I do. Whether you support Trump, whether you're against Trump, no matter what you believe, guys, I love you. And I respect you. And I respect your right to believe what you believe. And I would pray that you would not revert to this man's attitude and decide that because you just discovered I believe this or that, or because you've already known that I believe this or that, my opinion is invalid and I'm not allowed to discuss just the basics of human behavior and respect for others and self-respect. What self-respecting person would walk around saying effing crazy, thinking that that's a valid way to discuss other people in a reasonable, rational discussion? You need to respect yourself enough to know how to communicate. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's not okay. I love you guys.